And now to the last of our speakers and the true dynamic duo of the day. I would like to hand over to our hosts, only one of whom is paying any attention, as per normal, yes. And so that's Keith Pullinger and John Sullivan, who are the founders of the Light Cinemas. Do you want to mic? No, it's.
Stick it in your pocket for me.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you can all hear us. I'm sure you'll be able to hear John. He's much louder than I am. Welcome to the Light, for those who haven't been here before. We'd like to take you through a little bit today on, I want to start a little bit about our company, The Light, what we bring, what I think is different about us. To give you an overview of that, I won't do too much on that, because I think this session really we want to talk particularly about town centre cinemas, what it means to us, what our findings and what our experiences are. So, so that's where we'd like to go. So, okay. So, all my words all mixed up there, which is, I think, a framing issue. Sorry about that. So we see the Light as breaking the traditional multiplex mould. I think multiplexes came along in the 1980s and 90s and were very much about, they played a great part in regenerating cinema, but actually they were mainly an American model that was about people processing. It was basically get them in, get them out, sell them lots of expensive Coca-Cola along the way, and really some of the magic of cinema was lost along the way, I think. And so the companies that I work for and that John worked for, we had the culture really of cinema should be special. They should be bringing, it's people's valuable leisure time, and it's about that precious moment when you go out and enjoy yourself. Are you going to go to the cinema? Are you going to go somewhere else? So film comes first for us. We're a mainstream cinema operator. This is a 10-screen cinema here. And we show everything from Star Wars to Mamma Mia and Crazy Rich Asians, which has just opened. So we're playing all the mainstream films here. But also, there's a whole lot more going on at the Light. We like to think that when you come here, there's always something special going on. Every day, every week, we've got something going on to engage with all types of audiences. So up here, you'll see these are the live broadcasts that you heard about a bit earlier. This is really successful for us. We do live broadcasts of opera, theatre, ballet, pop music, and these are just some of the examples of them. Last week, our cinema in New Brighton on Merseyside, it normally features around about number 200 in the UK rankings. We did La Bohème opera last week, and we were number 1 in the UK. And that's because what we do at the Light is engage with local communities. We like to think that, when you come to the Light, it will be special. We won't want to sell you a big bucket of popcorn if you're coming to see an opera performance. You want a nice glass of wine or a nice coffee, and you want people who are working there who are interested in you and the product that's on screen. Sheffield Dockfest, we're a mainstream operator, as I said, but we also get involved in all sorts of film. This is the biggest documentary film festival in the world. Hosted in Sheffield every year. Big names come along. We're the main venue now that hosts that. And we did that really, it doesn't really make money for us. What it's about is the 70,000 students in Sheffield. They want to come to this venue. They want a broad range of films. They want different things going on. And so these are the sort of events that locally we get involved in all over the UK. And then we think about all sectors of the community. There's some examples here. We have autism-friendly screenings, dementia-friendly screenings. We have special screenings for all parts of the community. It's actually quite easy for cinemas.
We even have Australian-friendly
No, we
screenings.
don't.
We do.
None of those.
We do.
None of those.
Red Dog.
I knew he couldn't wait till I finished. I knew it. So it's actually quite easy for cinemas to get involved in this sort of thing. We have quiet times. A Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. is not a big time for us. So why not put something back, something back to the community? The dementia-friendly screenings we're having now, they're going really well. But the people who work there need to engage with the right people in the community, find out what they want, what times work for them, and how to put on a performance like that to make it work. And if there's 30, 40 people there and they've all had a great time, we're really happy. And actually the people who work for the light are really happy. And food, cinema food. Kind of got a bad reputation, really. Whenever I see a survey on cinema, it's always film, the food is junk, too expensive, it's all the same. It's just, I feel ripped off. That's the message we get more than anything.
But they buy it.
Wait your turn.
But they buy it.
Yes, they buy. We make lots of money from it. We're unashamedly making lots of money out of popcorn and cola. But actually, what's our signature, if you like, is working with different brands locally. So here you'll see local beer on sale. This is a great example up the top corner, in the top middle there, is our wonderful Stockport product, Lord of the Pies. And this guy, everyone in Stockport knows him. His pies are absolutely fantastic, from standard range to vegan pies. And they bring their own audience here. So we love getting involved with these sort of suppliers because, he goes on social media. It's a big thing. So we work hard to try and think about local engagement, not only in screen, but also in the F&B. So where are we now? We have just about to be 10 sites. It all started in New Brighton in Merseyside for us. If we had another hour, we'll go through each of these, but I'm not going to bore you with that. But there's some really significant sites here for us. We work a lot with local authorities. George and the team in Stockport have been absolutely fantastic here. We're really proud to be part of this development, whatever the architectural people might say. This venue is incredibly successful. We were hoping to do sort of 400,000 admissions per annum annually. We only opened in November. Our current run rate is 500,000 people. In fact, if George is kind to me, we might even think about extending this site because, this is a perfect example for me of great repurposing of town centres. And up there as well, Sheffield, city centre in Sheffield, again, a big part of the regeneration of the city centre. Sheffield was one of the last cities, really, I think, big cities, to get the urban living culture. It's happening in spades there now, anyone that knows Sheffield. And we're really proud to be in the heart of that because cinema can play an important part. But it's reaching all the different parts of the community is what we're interested in. 5-year-olds to 85-year-olds we talk about and everything in between. So that's where we are now. Our latest one on there, Addlestone in Surrey, Runnymede Council. We open at the beginning of October. Got a new look and a new feel for it again. We always like to move on. I hope you all think our seats are quite nice. Yeah. That's good. We designed this seat with a French company called Connect. We think they're great. I think the test of a good cinema seat for me is not the first 10 minutes. It's 2 hours into a boring film. If it still feels comfortable, then we've done our job well. We're always trying to move the product on. What really matters now, I think, as I said earlier, is people's leisure time is probably their most important time of the week, and everyone's squeezed for time now. And so if we can give 2 hours of really good cinema in a great venue with really engaged people, that's us doing our job. Now, my friend John,
I get to
I'm
say,
going to talk to you about the future.
Yeah. We are not standing still. Every cinema you'll see that the light opens is an evolution on the last. We're going to be moving this not only in terms of the quality of offer, but in terms of what we do, how we interrelate with communities, extend, maybe get some film schools going, get some more live action, more theatre happening within the cinema, secret cinema brought into a cinema. This is part of the future for us. We like to think that basically we started thumping on about improving cinemas back in the mid-80s. We've saw it through with when the big three didn't do something. we proceeded to work out some way to do it ourselves. We've really pushed the boundaries and pushed the button in terms of increasing the quality of cinemas, quality of the arrival experience. And I'm pleased to say that the United Kingdom now is ahead of the world. Back in mid-80s, it was right behind. Mid-80s, the sort of cinemas that were being regarded as the standard cinema in the UK was probably behind Eastern Europe, well behind Asia. And I'm really pleased to now say that cinemas are moving ahead on all directions in the United Kingdom, and there's some great, we've got some other people doing great stuff. I remember when cinemas were, multiplexes, the new cinema wave were coming in, it was the guys doing drive-in cinemas and things out of the ordinary back in the mid-60s that drove that wave, and the new cinemas came out of those guys. I'd like to think that there's going to be a lot of merge between what's actually happening with pop-up cinema and event cinema and crazy cinema and tunnel cinema or whatever else that's going to merge into the mainstream and is going to become the new norm moving forward. We'd like to be part of that. Part of what we're working on now, what's not up here is Banbury, by the way, is under construction in Oxfordshire, but Sittingbourne, Nottingham into centre, Red Hill, Huddersfield, Wakefield, Lichfield, Scarborough. These are all town centre schemes. They're all part of the fabric of the essence of what a town is about. The evening economy, creating something that's a little bit different. It's not just planting a cinema in a location will fix the issue. That is not it. It won't. We've worked very hard with this on. This is actually where the big picture merges with the light cinemas, because some of this stuff needs a lot of work beforehand. If you're just going to go out there and say, here's a box, let's lease it out, let's pop a cinema in there, and it's going to work, really, that's you're missing the point. A lot of what Hugh was talking about in terms of creating animation, activity. What do you do about the evening street? But we'll move on to that next. So we're looking at city and town centres. We want to work in partnership, with the local authorities. We want to work in partnership with the town because, as I said, the cinema's not going to be the quick fix. So what we're looking for, Keith, is.
Well, I think these are our findings. I think we've come up with this list because I think the cinemas we've opened from Sheffield and Stockport onwards have actually taught us quite a lot. You think an industry, we've been in it a long time, but actually town centres now, you've heard today how they're changing. But we've found more than ever that the cinema has requirements that most of our trade is after 7 p.m. And there's a lot of towns that we've gone into that there's a lot of thought about how it works in the daytime, in terms of the public realm, in terms of public transport, in terms of security, in terms of car parking. But we get people coming back to us to say, I like your venue, but I'm never quite sure if I'm leaving at 10:30, whether it feels secure, whether the journey back is right. Interestingly, which George doesn't know because I haven't mentioned to him, I spoke to our call centre that takes all our first calls and said, is there anything about Stockport that's a common theme that comes up? And they said, yeah, car parking's a problem. I said, what do you mean? There's more car parking in Stockport town centre than anywhere else. And it's actually the wayfinding. People can't find the entrance to this car park. I know how to get there. I've done it 100 times, but it's actually, sometimes it just shows us that there's always things to think about, and it's often in the fine detail that really matters to people. And they consider it more in the evenings, because if people going out and not necessarily feeling it's the safest place in the town centre, and they need to feel safe. They need to feel secure in the journey they're taking. How secure is it? How well lit is it? So I think all of these things we've highlighted up here because I think what we're saying is this is the hard work you do at this point. We've heard about Dartford and Rotherham and town centres that are trying to regenerate today. Get ahead of these sort of points. The pre-development stage, there's where do we always start? Of course, we start with the catchment profiles and the market demand studies. Any operator out there, myself included, won't have the time to put all the effort into a catchment study. So I'd say get the right people on board to give you that data, because we want a shortcut. We want to know, how many people are in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, what's the demographic profile, all those things. So you start with that, but then I think
you also need competition. You need
Yeah.
to understand what is the existing cinema going propensity in that marketplace,
yeah,
and do an honest SWOT on what they've got. What are they, and is it really a cinema needed? And really the question should be asked.
yeah. But then as we go through here, this is now starting to go back to the points that I was making, that more than ever now, when cinema was on an edge of town or out of town, it kind of worked in its own way. The building was designed efficiently, car parking sat right in front of it. It worked in that way, but that is most definitely becoming the cinema of the past. People do want it in town centres. It's great to have cinemas in town centres, but there's a lot more to consider. And the only way really to get on top of that is to do that at the pre-development stage, to really think through all parts of the process, the tenant mix, the branding that we've heard a bit about today as well. All of those things matter more and more in a town centre development. And then there's the launch itself. George showed you a few pictures of what we did here. The council were fantastic again in really giving Red Rock a great launch event. We love working with local authorities because they can help with things. They have great database for the customers. They often have a magazine that they can access, and social media. Give that big launch for the venue, get the excitement going, get the buzz going. And then the last part on here, again, this partnership piece that we keep referring to, we can't do it by ourselves. We need to be, every time we mention the light Stockport, we mention Red Rock. The two have to go together, and they have to go together operationally with the centre managers and the team here. I talked about security earlier. The pedestrian road that sits outside of here, we've never had, in all the time we've opened, one problem outside on that walkway, because it's secure 24 hours. The security is present and out there, so we don't have any problems. We don't have skateboarders in the evening. We don't have anything like that.
It's not only secure; it's kept clean. It's kept tidy. There's a pride that shows through, that leaps out from the building itself. Too often something's built and then it's forgotten about afterwards. I think a driving thing also is, the UK's got some absolutely stunning town centres that have just been forgotten over the last 30 or 40 years. I mean, again, my Antipodean thing coming through. I mean, anything over 100 years old in Australia is regarded alongside Stonehenge for us. And you've got the most amazing architecture sitting around, just sort of going to ruin in town after town across the country. And it just appears to me that this is a really, really important time to seize control of the, those hearts of the town, and not so much repurpose it, but look at where they went wrong in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and then just start to wind it back and bring it back to, well, what was it all for in the first place? What was the grand vision of that Victorian age? And cinema can play a part in that, and so can other activities. And it's just a matter of getting it all right and moving it together in a wonderful way. And I think there's a great opportunity. And I think what we've got here in Stockport is the beginning of what I can see will spread from here. And it's because there is that pride and determination to make it happen. And we are really delighted to be a partner in Stockport on that.
So, in summary, leisure and cinema specifically can play an important role in town centre regeneration. I think you've heard that message a lot today. Retail's changed forever and centres need repurposing. I didn't compare notes. And, you know, another boost for the cinema industry. It's amazing how media like the story of cinemas being killed by Netflix, cinemas being killed by this, that and the other, and Rob touched on it earlier. Cinema is in good shape, and the UK particularly has a great cinema market. You know, families are massive for us. Seniors are a big market for us. You know, it has broad appeal, and I wasn't surprised to hear Wynne say that, you know, you put a cinema in a development, largely people are positive about it, because they are. Most people feel good about it. It's town centre repurposing that isn't about drinking lead for the evening economy, and that's really important, I think. So it can be a great heart for the town. And longevity, you know, it's been here a long time. 2017 was a great year. 2018 is actually up on 17, so we're seeing another strong year. And I think, you know, it does bring that cluster with it. The restaurant market, we all know, is really difficult at the moment. But I think, again, it's about resetting. Nothing wrong with eating out demand. That's still as high as it's ever been. So, you know, I look at people that are here like lounges, great brands. They follow us around. It works well with cinema. So the more we talk and get to know what F&B people need, the more we can all come together and create a really successful product. And then lastly, there are different operators in the market. You know, and it's a very good point that Mark said. You know, it's where we have our market appeal. We're mainstream and try and pitch premium in that. My mapping of competitors is slightly different to Rob's, but that's always going to be the way. But there's a place for niche and boutique cinemas, there's a place for art house cinemas, and there's a place for discount cinemas. So absolutely pick your right operator and do the work necessary to make sure the cinema really delivers for the town. John, have you anything further to say? 'Cause
No,
I
I've got
think
nothing more to say.
Wow. Thank you for your attention.